Hi, I'm Lowell Martin, and this is MCC Today. On today's show, we have Sander Atkinson and Chris Haralson. It's going to be a really good show. Tune in.
Find purpose and soar to new heights at Meridian Community College. Elevate your education through our 52 career technical programs and find the eagle in you. With tuition guarantee and university transfer programs, your education is within reach. Find potential with more than 30 campus clubs and organizations and let your eagle spirit thrive. Invest in your education and register today. Meridian Community College. Find your wings.
And today we have Mr. Sander Atkinson, who is the Associate Dean of Student Services and also the Athletic Director. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Lowell.
Now, as Associate Dean of Student Services, what is your job?
Well,
what do you get to do?
I guess the primary responsibility of my job is to deal with campus discipline issues.
Okay.
Do have some function in overseeing campus police and the fitness center, but that's, as I explained it to my children when I took the job 7 or 8 years ago, I'm kind of now the principal of MCC.
You get to run herd over a lot of young people.
In some ways. Luckily, that doesn't take up a lot of time because we don't have a lot of issue with that.
And as athletic director, what do you do?
Obviously, as athletic director, I oversee the operation of our athletics department and ensure that athletes are eligible and that we're operating within the rules of the Mississippi Association of Community and Junior College Athletics and the National Junior College Athletic Association.
That sounds like that might be a little bit more involved than Associate Dean of Student Services.
It does take up the majority of my time. It involves quite a bit.
Now this so you're having to go by the rules of recruitment.
That's right.
And things like that.
That's right. The Mississippi Association has a set of rules that in many ways mirror the National Association, but in some instances are a little more restrictive, so we have to be aware of those while also understanding how those fit into the National Junior College rules.
Now, are we, and I don't want to use the word disadvantage, but because we just have a one county, we just have a one county area, we serve a one county area. Does that put us at a disadvantage that other community colleges do not have?
Well, I suppose you can make the argument that from a funding standpoint, it certainly presents challenges because we don't have the same number of counties, the same size district that is providing local tax dollars. A big part, and actually the history part of what we're going to talk about is that there was a time when recruiting in the state was tied to the district, and that's where the athletes had to come from.
So you could only get athletes from your district?
With a small number of out-of-state athletes allowed, but if you were in Lauderdale County, if you were at Meridian Community College and in Lauderdale County, that's the only place athletes could come from except for the small allotment of out-of-state athletes.
When did that change?
It changed about 8 years ago, and that's really that removed at least the major barrier to us being a part. If you go back in the history, we started athletics in 1970 with men's basketball and baseball. And
so we had no athletics before that?
No, not prior to 1970. There's no athletics.
Really?
So
okay.
Not only are we one of the youngest as a school, but we're certainly the youngest as an athletic department. And I'm lucky enough in my 23rd year. My father-in-law played on the first basketball and baseball teams, and then worked here for 40 years. So I've kind of become aware of this history through that family connection through the years. And in those days, in the mid-'80s, we made a decision because of the restrictedness of those recruiting rules. Primarily, I'm sure there were other factors, but that was the primary focus. To leave the Mississippi Association and just follow the National Junior College Athletic Association rules.
Okay. How did that limit us? We decided to go with the national rules.
Right. The national rules were more. We weren't restricted to the same rules as far as recruiting in our district. We were able to go get student athletes from wherever, all over the state, and even all over the country. We had no out-of-state athlete restrictions.
Were we still permitted to play other community colleges?
Certainly. Now, it was up to their discretion, and over the years as we did it, some chose not to play us, but that's one of the nice things about being so close to Alabama is we could, for many sports, we could slide right over into Alabama and find games. And,
Okay.
so it worked out really well at the time.
Okay.
And then, like I said previously, 8 years ago, the state took away the restriction on recruiting in district for athletics, allowing wide open state-wide recruiting, and that removed that primary reason to not be a part, and therefore we rejoined the Mississippi Association of Junior College Athletics.
So now we can recruit statewide.
That's right.
For all
the schools in Mississippi can.
Excellent. Okay. So that
And
does
that
help
brought
us a lot more.
That's right.
And that was around the same time that you came on board as our associate.
That's right. That's right. It was real close. It was real close, and it was a good thing, and it did make sense for us. I mean, I have to stress. I'm from Kentucky originally, and I would be back home talking to friends and to explain to them that, well, we're in Mississippi and there's 14 other schools, but we don't play in their league. It always seemed like a weird dynamic. And so when they removed that restriction and the state was open, it really made sense for us to be part of the league once again.
Okay. Now, I get asked this all the time, and I'm sure you get asked this all the time, as the whole
I know what's coming.
Why we don't have a particular sport here at MCC. Yeah. So when will we get lacrosse?
Look, lacrosse is an emerging sport. It would not surprise me. I don't know if it'll be before I retire, but it wouldn't surprise me that the day comes that we have lacrosse.
But football.
Yeah,
Why doesn't Meridian have a football team?
Yeah, there's I think the answer to that, there's kind of a short and a long version, and the short version would be, at the time when we started athletics, the way the league was structured with the rules and that Lauderdale County restriction, I think made it practically impossible to field a 50 to 70 member football team.
Right.
Obviously, 8 years ago with the opening of the state, that restriction sort of removed. So it seems like, well, maybe, but now I think it's monetary. You're looking at $5 to $10 million probably to start the team, not to mention the ongoing costs.
My kids say, just write a check.
Right. If we could find that donor, I suppose it could work out.
Just write a check. But yeah, we do. I always get asked that question. But I still think that that we do well with our athletes. We do well with.
We do.
The GPAs of the athletes are always up there.
That's right. One of our priorities is to recruit good kids and make sure we hold them accountable, make sure they're taking advantage of the opportunity to advance their academic and educational career.
And many times they leave us and go to 4-year or go elsewhere and continue to do well.
Absolutely.
Do we keep track of them after
the individual
they leave
coaches
us?
do? Yeah, they make sure that that where their athletes are going, and they have that list because they use that in recruiting the next group of young people. Say this is where our student athletes have been able to go through their time here. So yeah, those lists are compiled.
Now, to get to your other hat, which is the Associate Dean of Student Services, and there's one thing I wanted to talk about for just a bit, and that was the whole academic probation. That if students, I just wanted students to know that if they come here and for some reason they don't do well in a semester, they're not automatically just kicked out and told never ever grace our doors again.
That's right.
There's a process that they can go through to bring them back up into good standing.
That's right.
And how would they go about?
Yeah, excellent. What happens to a student athlete in their academic progress is if you have a semester that's below a 2.0 GPA,
which is a C average.
2.0 would be a C average.
Okay.
You go on academic probation, and at that point, nothing actually happens in your ability to schedule classes and attend the next semester.
Okay.
On a second consecutive semester below 2.0, your academic status changes to academic suspension.
Okay.
At that point, you cannot register for the next term. You have two choices. You can either sit out a semester
Okay.
and then come back, or you can come meet with me. And when a student chooses to come and meet with me, then we talk about what their perceptions are of what went wrong
Okay.
and what their plan is to get back on track. I sprinkle in some of my wisdom, which I usually tell them, you know, when you get something for free, it's probably worth about what you paid for it. But I think through the years, I've met with enough students that there are some common themes and some basics of how to go about pursuing your academic goals that fit everybody's situation. And at the end of that meeting, if all goes well and we agree on the plan, then you can be moved to suspension appeal, which
Okay.
allows you to continue your enrollment without break.
Okay. Now, I do notice that quite often you will put students in my class, or our classes, this college study skills classes.
That's right.
To help them get over what, you know, their whatever the issue was, because sometimes it is academic. You know,
Absolutely.
not trying to continue the study habits that they used in high school that don't work necessarily in college. But so if a student, and this is an athlete or whomever.
That's right.
If a
Any
student, if they make below a 2 point in one semester, they have another semester to get it up.
To get it up.
And if they don't during that semester, then they go on academic suspension.
That's right.
And then they have to meet with you or take a semester off.
That's correct.
Okay, and then as soon as they meet with you and you know, give them the fruits of your wisdom and say, hey, this is what you need to do, then they can come back.
Yes.
Okay, and hopefully, you know, get some of that past. You know, they can retake classes. They can, you know, if they need to get that
That's
GPA
absolutely.
up. And the 2-point GPA is an overall GPA, right?
Yes.
That's their overall what they made the whole semester.
You get on the academic suspension by the GPA for each semester. By the second semester, it's not the combined of the 2 semesters. It's just for that second semester. And getting back to a 2.0 is each semester your academic status can change based on the GPA for that semester.
Now, when you were in college,
Oh,
did you ever go below the 2-point, just out of curiosity?
as I tell the students all the time, I was far from an A student.
Okay, okay.
But I was able to work enough to keep myself off academic suspension. So no, I didn't drop below the 2.0, but I had my struggles.
Listen, I hope you come back and see us again, okay?
Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate it. We'll be right back.
Meridian Community College Arts and Letters Series is proud to present a Christmas festival of 9 lessons and carols. The MCC Music Department would like to welcome you to a night of sacred music and reflection, Thursday, December 5th, for the annual festival, presented by the Concert Choir and Guitar Ensemble. The lessons will be read by members of the faculty and staff, with carols for the audience to sing along. The Candlelight Processional is a traditional part of this presentation each year. The presentation begins at 7 p.m. in the McCain Theater, and admission is free.
And we are back, and we have Mr. Chris Haralson, the athletic trainer, and our new sports information director. Congratulations.
Thank you.
On
Appreciate
the promotion, what was it?
I would just call it an additional duties. How about that?
Okay. Now, how long have you been an athletic trainer here at Meridian Community College?
I'm starting my 13th season. I got here 13 years ago, came in the spring when previous guest, Mr. Atkinson, took over as Associate Dean of Students.
Okay.
And I started as the athletic trainer then, and then just progressed here recently into the sports information role.
Now, as athletic trainer, what were your duties?
Duties as athletic trainer is to basically take care and treat all of our athletes here on campus.
Okay.
So we've got 11 sports here on campus with men's and women's sports combined. And so it's my job on a daily basis to treat and evaluate those injuries that they have, try to get them back onto the playing field as quick as possible, coordinate with our team orthopedics as far as seeing doctors and physical therapy and things like that, just maintaining the overall health of our athletic population here on campus, trying to keep them on the courts and on the field as much as possible.
And making sure that these students are doing what they need to do.
Exactly.
When the doctor tells them to do it, because everyone automatically always follows doctor's orders, right?
To
Especially
the T,
young
to the
people.
T. Yeah, they always know way more than the doctor does.
What has surprised you most about being an athletic trainer, if you don't mind me asking?
Probably how everything seems to be the same.
Okay.
So in 13 years, I can almost tell you we're going to have these injuries and we're going to have this. It's going to come at this time of the year. It almost seems to happen yearly. There's an occasion where we have a new injury or something. Just this past week we had something that I had never seen before, or two things I'd never seen before. But typically they're going to be similar year in and year out. And so whenever I talk to people, I'm like, oh, I remember about 5 years ago when so-and-so was here, he had this. And they're like, no, that was 12 years ago. But it all runs together.
Sure.
Because you see the students, and when they come back, I can't remember if they were here 3 years ago or 12 years ago. It all kind of runs together, and the injuries run together because we have similar ones every year with every sport. You can almost predict what we're going to have just based off the previous years.
Do you ever keep up with the students after they leave us, and and just see how they're doing? And
some of them, obviously, the age of social media makes that easier
Sure.
to keep up with what they're doing, not necessarily keep in contact. And so I'm social media friends with several of our former athletes, and I can see on a daily basis what they're doing and where they're at and keeping up in that things. But as far as reaching out, I probably don't do as good a job keeping in contact as I'd like to. That doesn't go just with athletes. That's
Sure.
probably with everybody.
Sure.
But I do like the ability to keep up with them on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, just to know how they're doing in their life. If they're succeeding or where they're at. And we've had luckily several of our former athletes have come back to coach here, so it makes
Yes.
it easier to keep up with them that way.
I've seen a few of my former students who were here and now they're coaches. It's very interesting.
Exactly.
So now with your other hat as the sports information director, what does that job entail?
So that entails getting our message out to the population.
Okay.
And that's via our website or social media or print in the newspaper or things like that. It's just letting the world know what's going on at Meridian Community College in the athletic department.
We've got a great web page.
Right. We've got a great web page at mcceagles.com, and so it allows people to go, well, what's going on at Meridian? They can go there and they can find out all our information, our schedules, our rosters, our coaches, our contact information. If they need to get in touch with one of our coaches, they can go on there and find their email and find their phone number. And it's a great resource just to keep up with what's going on. And in the day and age, like we were talking about with social media, students, they want 140 characters or less to know what's going on. Who won the game? That's all they want to know. Who had the most points? And so social media allows us to be able to get that out to the thousands. Anybody that wants to follow us on Twitter or Facebook or something like that can go on there and keep up with what's going on without having to read 4 paragraphs about what's going on. And with teenagers these days, they're not going to read 4 paragraphs. They're looking for the headline.
Right.
And so it allows us to stay in contact with our recruitable athletes, the ones that we're trying to get on campus, our former athletes that want to say, well, how are they doing, since I left? It's a great way for them to be able to keep up with what's going on here.
Do we stream many games?
We stream our home games for men's and women's basketball, men's and women's soccer, and baseball. We've got MCC Eagles Live. You can get that via our website, or you can go direct to MCC Eagles Live and watch our home games streamed live.
Okay.
And that's a great resource because we've got some out-of-state players. We've even got some out-of-country players.
We do.
And it makes it great for those parents who can't make it to campus 2 nights a week to sit at home and watch the game. And it's great stream. It's high quality. It's good. So it's good audio. We've got some graphics and things to keep you up to date. And so it's really a benefit to us and a benefit to our student athletes and their parents to be able to watch when they can't make it.
Now, you're in charge of the website, the athletic website, and
I would-
to keep making sure the information.
I wouldn't want to say I'm in charge,
Okay.
but we've got a good team here in the communications department that we all collectively do that.
Okay.
I try to drive the ship as to what we want on there, and then try to get with our graphic designers and our web designers to make sure it's on there. And they do a great job, helping me get the content on there. I know what our coaches want, and I can help facilitate getting the right stuff on there, but I'm not a graphic designer, and I'm certainly not a web designer, so when it comes to the technical aspects of getting it on there, I need some help. But it's good being in athletics for as long as I have, and working with our coaches and working with our student athletes, to have an idea of what they want presented.
Sure.
When we get ranked, we've got a nationally ranked golf team right now. Well, that's something we want out there. And
yes.
Coach Key is telling me, hey, we're ranked 6th in the country. Let's be sure we know that. So we want that out there on social media, and we want that on the website so that people know what a great golf team we've got. And
How are other sports doing?
all our sports are doing well. Soccer finished up this season. They both men's and women's finished 1 game out of the playoffs. The women's team had two All-Stars make the All-Star team, and we had the All-Star game last weekend. One of our girls, Skylar Spears from Clarkdale, she scored a goal and had an assist in the win for the All-Star team. Then we had one All-State player, freshman defender, Bryn Bowell from Newton County. She made the All-State team. Our men had 3 All-Stars, and our coach, first-year head coach Sam Wilson, got to coach the All-Star team. And so that was a great experience. They won 4-1, so it was good to be able to get there and get our people on the field at the All-Star game and win that game. And then he also had an All-State player, freshman Kevin Madrid. He's a forward for us. He was an All-State player. So soccer's trending in the right direction. Like I said, 1 game out of the playoffs, but doing well.
Okay.
We're in the middle of basketball season. Both teams are off to a great start with winning records. The men battled a really good Wallace State team into overtime the other day at their place, and Wallace State is undefeated. They're 8-0, and so to take them into overtime and just lose by 2 points, it's a great job.
Big, yeah.
The women beat a really good Lawson State women's team the other day, and so they're trending in the right direction. We'll get started in the spring, kind of kick off our conference play part of the schedule and really make a push towards the conference tournament and the playoffs and things of that nature. But they're doing well. They're both winning records right now, and excited to see what happens in the spring.
And the students are, the athletes are still maintaining their GPAs. They're still doing well academically.
Absolutely.
Because we still have a very good transfer GPA rate, I believe.
Right, we do. And that's one of the things that I think all our coaches do, and I know this because I'm in several of the group meets just to keep up with what's going on, and they were always having study hall. We're constantly having study hall, and they're maintaining their grades, and because they understand that the key to playing and the key to moving on is I've got to get my grades.
Right.
And so it allows them to know that they have to focus on those grades to keep playing and to move on to their higher aspirations to Division I, sports or even further. So they understand the importance of grades, and therefore it makes it easier to drive them to do better in class, knowing how important it is.
Well, now, can you see, since you've just become the sports information director, is there anything that you would like to see happen, or since you're going to be commanding the ship for a little bit, or hopefully for a long time.
Right.
Misspoke there, but. Is there anything else that you think that you would like to see us do? Because we've got the website and that's looking good. The graphics are looking good. Is there anything else that you think we could bring into it to tell our story?
Right. I can't think of anything specific. I think all those things we're doing well, and I think all those things we can do better.
Okay.
So like I said, we're streaming the home games right now. Eventually, I hope to progress and be able to do softball and get those streamed. We'd like to do a coaches show. We'd love to do this, once a week with one of our coaches and have that highlighted, and get that on the website and get that on to social media. So everything we're doing well, but everything that we're doing well, we can always do better. Okay. And so we're gonna strive to continually upgrade the website and upgrade social media and get our story out to more people than we've ever gotten into before.
Do you think that's going to help us recruit, and that's going to help us, well, not just with athletes, but with students in general?
Absolutely. The more you see Meridian Community College in the news for positive things, and that's what we're striving to do, the more you're going to want to come be a part of Meridian. We're an excellent academic school. We're one of the best academic schools in the state as far as community colleges go, and we're one of the best athletic schools in the state. So we just need to get that message, because there's people on the coast that may not know that, and there's people in North Mississippi, and there's people in our surrounding states that may not know how great we are, and we need to get that message to them. And as many ways as we can do that, the better. And I think once they get to see how great we are, that's going to make them want to come be a part of us.
Well, thank you. Listen, I do hope that you come back and continue updating us on progress we're making and how things are going.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back.
Find purpose and soar to new heights at Meridian Community College. Elevate your education through our 52 career technical programs and find the eagle in you. With tuition guarantee and university transfer programs, your education is within reach. Find potential with more than 30 campus clubs and organizations, and let your eagle spirit thrive. Invest in your education and register today. Meridian Community College. Find your wings.
Thank you for watching today's show. I'd like to give a special shout out to Matt Milner, our executive producer, and Josh Taylor, our media consultant. It was lit.